How do I find those giant pivots? How do you know what is the best filter for that? Here is a key tip of the day. What happens at 940 to 950? What do we anticipate? That AO will be awesome for the next section. What do I mean by section?
AlgoBoxPro.com.
When looking for the AO number that's been calling the turn in recent past, let's say you're doing a morning session, are you looking closely at the day before? What's the sweet spot for looking back? Obviously in an afternoon session the morning will tell you a lot. I suppose it becomes clear when you just start looking back.
Good question, because that one is trickier. I have said that is trickiest things to deal with when you are trying to do alpha omega tuning. If you are going to use the strategy specifically around looking for big pivots, what I call it the big pivot strategy there, you're trying to tune your alpha omega settings to literally find you the next giant pivot. That's the whole idea, which means you're trying to catch 40, 50, 100 plus tick. You don't want the little miniature ones. It's basically about filtering. You're trying to filter out to go, how do I find those giant pivots? How do you know what is the best filter for that? The key to it is dividing the day, because he is saying, well, what about in the mornings? Can I use the information from the day before, or do I do the pre-market? For me, the short answer, if you're doing the morning, pre-market. However, that shifts right there at the beginning of the day. It is almost like the AO can't really be used right there at the open. And I think that is your question. You're like, well, can I use the open? You're not going to find one at the open, because a day from yesterday can be completely different the next day. You're talking about algorithms being programmed in overnight, new situations coming in, digestion of previous day data, including major market impacting news events, macroeconomic things. This is why the morning is a no. Oh, at 9:35 there was a blank. No, it's not going to work like that. But what you need to do is watch to see if a big number, because it could be, who knows, it could be a 13, could be a 12, could be an 11 in that open. You need to see at the open about 10 minutes in, then that is when those start to begin. How you can remember that very easily, go into our Discord chat right now and type !sessions. Here are trading sessions as I see them. You're asking here at the New York Open. You're not going to tune it perfectly to take a trade here. Your first sets of trades on that are going to be here and here. This is probably the least likely area that you're going to get this. However, what happens at 940 to 950? Oftentimes we get a big pivot where you can pick up 20, 40, 50, 100 some odd tick. Here is a key tip of the day. Find the AO that lands in here that calls the pivot. The end of day yesterday has nothing to do with the following day's open. You want to know what people are showing up that day, and they will show you their hand between 940 and 950. That AO will be significant for the next section. What do I mean by section? This graphic right here will show you the sections that I'm talking about. Here to here, that's one section. Here to here, that's a section. Here to here, here to here. Each one of these sections needs its own AO tuning. The answer is, for the morning, there isn't one. However, you take the one 940 to 950, you start right here, you grab your first alpha omega tuning and you put it in here. Then inside of here, you take the AO out of here, apply it right here. You look for the AO here. What was the big pivot here? You use it in the first one here. This one, you find the pivot here in this section, you apply it here. Now the last day, that AO may just not work end of day either. New players can step in here and here. Not here, not here, but in the middle of the day, AO tuning. One last time, if we block out the first, say here, it was a 15, and the first one I'm playing right here, a 15. This next one was big pivot 12. I'm going to take that to the next one. I'm going to take a 12 here. This will probably carry to both of these sections when it comes here in the beast mode, because this little area here is, I call it the mushy area of the market in the middle of the day. So that will probably carry all the way through between those three. Inside of here, 2 to 230 area, this is a pivot turn in here. This one ends up being 15 was a big pivot. We want to take the first 15 here. That is your alpha omega tuning for intraday if you're going to apply the alpha omega big pivot strategy. Can everybody see that 15 was a major pivot right here? We've come down to an area and 15.2 pushed it back up. Recency is key. What is the number that turned this whole area? Can you see that a 15.2 made a major turn? I'm not going to be looking for a major pivot turn. Did that 12 turn it down? In my strategy theory is it's because it would require at least a level 15 to turn it. So now what's on the table? 15. Until some other number turned it. Since I can't hardly find anything, that means it's filtered, and I'm going to lower that number even farther below a 6 threshold. I'm going to try 4 and then see if we get any 5s that show up, and let's see if we can find a pivot. I'm looking for that pivot at the top. So I'm going to go in here, alpha omega tuning. The threshold is right here. This is what I'm talking about by tuning it. You have to tune these manually. So I'll set this to a 4. There it is. So what is the current pivot that matters? Easy. It's right there. 4.6. So I might round it and say a 5, and I can get a turn. Look at that. 5.4. And we push up. If I know that level 4 was good enough for this big giant turn, then I'm going to look for the next one that is more than 4.6. Is 5.4 greater than 4.6? When I see this 5.4, can I take a reversal? Yes. This thing is going to keep moving, keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. I got to at least have 4 or 5 before I'm looking for a big pivot.
Download your 14-day free trial at AlgoBoxPro.com.